Hello children, welcome to e-learning. This side Shivin sir, and we are going to study today chapter 9 of your English literature book, The Time Machine. But before we start the chapter, let's have a small introduction of the author H.G. Wells. Herbert George Wells was born on September 21, 1866 in England. He was a renowned English novelist, journalist, sociologist, and historian. He was best known for his science fiction novels such as The Time Machine and The War of the World, and he is often called the father of science fiction. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature 4 times. He died on August 13, 1946 in England. So children, let's read a play about a time traveler who invents a time machine. The play starts with the scene of a room where the time traveler is talking to some people, including the narrator. A dinner party is going on at the time traveler's house. The characters of the play are time traveler, Philby, medical man, provincial mayor, psychologist, young man, and writer. The time traveler's eyes were shining brightly, and he was looking very excited and full of energy. In the well-lighted room, the narrator and other characters were listening to the time traveler very attentively. The time traveler is trying to explain the guests about the fourth dimension, which is time. Time is a very important dimension for any real body to exist. It's very important for a real body to have length, breadth, thickness, and time. We make a difference between the first 3 dimensions and the fourth dimension, that is time, because our consciousness is constantly moving on time axis throughout our lives. It's very surprising that the fact is overlooked. It is so because of our tendency and habit. He explains further that time itself is a kind of space. Then the medical man, one of the guests, asks, if time is a dimension, why can't we move in time as it is possible to move in other dimensions of space? At this, the time traveler explains that we are always moving in time since our birth to our death. We are constantly moving at a uniform speed in this dimension only. The psychologist also agrees with the medical man and says that we cannot move about in time like other directions. The time traveler opposes him by giving example that if anyone tries to recall any past event, he moves about in time only. Philby, one of the guests, was still not convinced. The time traveler said that long ago he had an idea about a machine. His sentence was completed by the young man. A machine to travel through time. The time traveler continued, the machine can be made to travel in any direction as per the driver's wish. Philby laughs at this. The time traveler claims to verify his thought through experiment. The guests were curious and excited to see whether there was really such thing or just a trick. The time traveler went to his laboratory to fetch his proof, and in the meanwhile, Philby told the guests about a magician whom he had seen at Burslem. Philby kept quiet when the time traveler came back. The time traveler brought a shining metallic structure almost of the size of a small clock and was very finely built. He placed it on a small table. He also put a small shaded lamp on the table to throw light on the model. The room was brilliantly brightened with light of a dozen candles. The narrator sat in a low armchair, and rest of the guests almost surrounded the time traveler and the model so that they might not be fooled by the time traveler. The time traveler started demonstrating his model. He indicated the 2 levers of the model, one of which was to be pressed to send the machine into the future and the other lever to reverse the motion. He also showed the seat of a time traveler in the machine. Then he announced that as soon as he would press the lever, the machine would disappear into future. He wanted to make it sure for everyone that he wasn't hiding anything from them or playing any trick. He also wanted to prove that he was not a dishonest person but a genius. Everyone was excited to observe this incredible event. The medical man appreciated the machine. The time traveler told them that he was able to make it in 2 years of time. Then he let the psychologist himself press the lever. Before everyone, the lever was turned. The narrator was sure for no trick. A light wind blew, the lamp flame jumped, and one of the candles was blown out. Then the device suddenly started swinging round and within moments disappeared. Now, on the table, only the lamp was left. There was a complete silence in the room. The psychologist, as if got back his consciousness, searched the machine under the table. The medical man, in order to confirm once more, asked the time traveler if he was sure that the machine had traveled into time. At this, the time traveler answered him, pointing towards his laboratory. He said that he had almost completed a big machine through which he could travel in space. When asked by Philby if the machine had gone into the future, the time traveler was not sure whether the machine went into the future or the past. The medical man was still not ready to believe what had happened. He proposed to wait for the next day so that they might be able to use their common sense and come to conclusion. The time traveler offered them to have a look on the machine he was working on, and they were ready to see it themselves, the big form of the device that had just disappeared before them. They could see the materials like nickel and ivory, etc., used in making of the machine. The machine was almost complete, with some parts still unfinished. The medical man, to reassure, asked the time traveler if he was really serious or just playing a trick on them as he had done to them on the previous Christmas. Holding the lamp upwards, the time traveler proclaimed seriously to travel in the time himself on that time machine which he was making. Well, children, this is all about the chapter, and I hope you must have understood a lot. But for better understanding, I suggest that you must go through the book once or twice, and then I'm sure you'll have a better understanding. Thank you, children.